Welcome to Books and Things. Another week's gone by, and we're getting into spring, and the weather's gorgeous. Tonight's guest is Lisa Saunders. Now, some of you may know her as a host and producer of the Lisa Saunders Show that appears here on SEC TV on Wednesday nights.
Yes, Wednesday nights.
Thank you. And she's also a member of Kappa and has been one of my friends since she moved into Mystic, which is quite a few years ago.
Yeah, 2010 now.
Really? Mm-hmm. Time does fly.
Almost 6 years.
Wow. And now you're going to meet Lisa Saunders as a children's author. Now, Lisa has written 8 books?
Yes.
Wow. And she does a whole ton of other stuff, but we're not going to get into that. Today we're going to introduce her new children's book, which is called
Once Upon a Placemat, a table-setting tale.
And I read that. It's very good. Welcome.
Oh, thank you very much.
Appreciate you coming down the show. I read the book.
It wasn't too long, right? So it was an easy read.
Yeah, it was in between. Yeah, it is a short book, but it's very interesting. And I myself, as I'm sure a lot of people, have trouble where to put the fork and which fork to use first. and for kids, this is great.
Yeah, that's what I did it for, because it's actually an expanded excerpt of another book I wrote, Ride a Horse on an Elevator, and so many people have gotten in touch with me. Gee, that little fairy tale you told in that book taught me how to set the table, or taught my child. So I thought, shoot, I really should make it a separate book and expand it, because they have, these are characters that are alive and want people to know that the fork has needs and the knife has worries.
That's true, because you put names on it and the kids can realize. Now, every time I handle a fork, I'm going to be very nervous.
And think about the knife.
Yeah.
And what he's thinking.
It's dangerous. I'm not playing with spoons anymore, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, that's right. Wow, he's really jealous. So, because they are married. So.
Yeah, they're married. And what, the other fork and...
I have the fork. He is married, but I don't really talk about his wife except at the very end, because she's the dessert fork. And they don't really lay on the same napkin.
No.
If you're really being proper.
Yeah.
But I do have them being married.
Well, see, that's why I don't go to proper dinners, because I never know what to do. You look and say, oh, no, what am I going to do now? We had one Saturday night where the fork is laying up there. You got 2 forks on this side, and I'm going, first fork is the last one over.
Right, you
That's
eat
the salad.
inward, right. The dessert fork, even though I have him married to Mrs. Fork, she is on top of the plate, facing toward your glass.
Now, we also have a video to show, and if I can
Yes.
get that video up, we can start with the explaining.
So I can introduce those characters.
Welcome to Once Upon a Placemat, a table-setting tale. I'm Lisa Saunders, the author, here to read you a few pages. If you own this book, you can color in all the black and white images, like this one, but if you borrowed the book from the library, you can ask a grown-up to download this free placemat from my website at authorlisasaunders.com and color it in any way you like. My friend colored in my book's images for this video. Do you have your crayons nearby? Okay, then let's get ready to find out what your tableware is really thinking and why they sit where they do on the placemat. Once upon a placemat in Grandma's house, not so far away, lived a plate, fork, knife, spoon, and cup. Can you see them peeking at you from behind the windows? The tableware had many things to say, but I couldn't hear them until the day Grandma told me a story. I loved to sit on Grandma's lap and listen to her stories. I also loved to sit in Grandma's wheelbarrow and be pushed around her farm while she weeded and told me about the plants and flowers. In fact, I like to sit and listen to stories all day long instead of helping with chores. But one day, Grandma wouldn't let me sit. Grandma said, "Lisa, it's time for lunch. Please set the table." "Grandma," I complained, "I never remember where all the silverware goes. Can't I just sit in the kitchen and watch you set the table while you tell me a story?" Grandma agreed to tell me a story as long as I helped. First, Grandma made me wash my hands. "If you don't wash your hands," Grandma warned, "naughty germs will try to sneak into your eyes, nose, and mouth to make you sick." Once my hands were clean, Grandma got out her placemats and began to tell a story. Grandma said, "Some of the utensils don't get along, so we must be very careful where we put them. We want them to be happy, so they will all work together." To hear the rest of Grandma's story and learn why the fork wants his private napkin bed, why the knife is afraid the dish will run away with the spoon, and why the cup insists she and the others get a bath before being shared, ask your adults to get a copy of the book Once Upon a Placemat, A Table-Setting Tale, from the library, bookstore, or Amazon. Tell your adults the book has recipes for the foods served in the story, even for the cake. You can also tell them that I have a special section for adults on why no one should share their cups or utensils with each other, not even family members. This is important because when my younger daughter was growing in my belly, I got germs from someone else's saliva. Even though I didn't feel sick, my baby was born sick. I wrote this book so that we can have a fun way to share meals without sharing germs. If you would like more stories about Grandma and me, read my children's novel, Ride a Horse, Not an Elevator. This chapter book includes recipes from Grandma's kitchen, a study guide, and Cornell University's Horse and Human Nutrition worksheets. My friend Suzanne Dukas-Niermeyer colored in the illustrations done by Marianne Greiner for this video. If you would like more placemats for coloring, please have your adults visit my website at authorlisasaunders.com, click on Lisa's Books and Play, then on Once Upon a Placemat. If your adults would like to arrange an author visit or have any questions, they can write to me at lisasaunders42@gmail.com.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that. I think it's really a cute little story about the fork, this dish running away with a spoon.
Yes.
and it's, you bring up all these little tidbits from when you learned as a kid. I never really put that on the table as an example, but that's a cute idea to tie it in there like that.
Well, thank you. Because that's the only way I can remember things is to make up stories about them.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I had even some of my adult friends read it recently. Oh, now when I have people that care, I can actually set the table because I'll be thinking about them. And now when I'm loading the dishwasher, I really worry about putting them certain ones together. So.
Oh, no, not the knives together. And you probably find them in the morning all bent.
Yeah, right. Well,
that's cool. And little things like that are things that you learn and remember for the rest of your life. When I was in high school, I think I was junior or senior, which I don't even remember that, but I do remember the teacher saying how to spell words that have L-I or L-E after them. Keep lice in your head.
So wait, what does that do if you keep lice in your head?
L-I-C-E. So it's always L-I or C-E.
Oh, okay.
Receive, R-E-C-E-I.
Oh.
So you keep lice in your head. It's I think lice, but that's...
Right, Reality is that is how we really remember something.
Yeah. So I remember that. I'm not even going to say how many years it's been, but things like that are catchy.
Yes, and it's fun to have your memories because we just used some of your pictures for the new book I'm doing with my co-authors. Right. Yes, for Images of Modern America, Mystic, that I'm doing with the Fullers, Meredith and Kent Fuller. So thank you for a picture of you in your scout uniform.
Oh, good.
Yeah, that was great.
It was fun looking that stuff up. I think, because after Mystic in the 50s, I love history anyway. Mm-hmm. And it's just every little morsel I can get, I love to jump in on.
And we did give a plug for your book in our book.
Thank you.
So that people can, because we covered more the 60s to today.
Yeah.
But you cover heavily the 50s. And actually, I had to refer to your book so that I could know gas stations and just certain things that were very helpful.
Book.
Yes. And I loved knowing that you put out that big fire in 1960.
Well, not personally, but...
Well, you had to put your clothes on over your pajamas.
Yes. Yeah, I was out there, and it was cold. God, it was a blizzard.
Right.
Actually, probably the only first blizzard I probably ever went through.
Now, do you miss the movie theater? Because it was...
Yeah, the theater was good.
I heard, though, that the toilets went right into the river.
They did.
And you had the water rats going across the stage.
God, we've seen them run right across the stage.
During a movie, right?
Yeah, during a movie. And everybody's screaming, but they disappear. But it was built over the river.
Yeah.
There was basically no ground under it, which is why they never built it up again, because there's nothing to build under, and they couldn't get another. See, the store next door hooked into the sewage, and there wasn't enough room for the theater to do it, so they couldn't rebuild it. But most of, I don't know how we got on this subject, but most of the town was flushed into the Mystic River.
I'm glad things are different.
Yes, you and me both.
And I do have, like I said, you know that I write a lot of history, but it is fun. And I write mostly nonfiction, but it is fun to write fairy tales, which is why writing children's book is kind of a relief to just get away from these heavy-duty facts that you have to double-check and just let my imagination run wild so I can tell a story that kids will enjoy.
I have always wished I could write a kid's book, but I just can't seem to sit down and get one.
Yeah, but you could, like when you wrote about your mother's apron and things like that. There are ways that you could take some of your memories that you've written about and make them entertaining for children, because children always look at things and wonder about things the way they used to be. So I'm sure you could do it.
Yeah, and in the years of children, they're informative. Those are the ones they want to learn so much. And if you don't teach them, then they'll never remember any of it. And
it's not as hard to convince children to read, because they always love to read, and their parents love for them to read, so you don't have to run around reminding everybody to read. Yeah. So that's what's kind of fun, too, is just have a ready audience that enjoys hearing. And parents love, for this new fairy tale, they love knowing their child's going to learn that, on top of germ prevention, because I do include that, as well as making sure people don't share their cups, because so many people are guilty of, oh, can I have a sip? And I cringe when I see that, because there are so many diseases that they're not bothering you, but if you give them to somebody else, if they're transferred through saliva,
Now, when we were kids, we drank from hoses.
Well, hoses are probably okay, as long as you're not putting your mouth on the hose where everybody else just put their
bottle around the room.
Yeah, that's bad.
Yeah.
That's bad. That's why I have Miss Cup in the story, insisting that she gets a bath.
Well, she should.
Yes. And other dishes too, but mostly you see people sharing drinks. Oh, can I have a sip? And I like I said, I do just cringe.
Yeah. Yeah, the only people I share drinks with is my spouses, and I don't do that anymore either.
Hey, are you looking for? Do we need to fix you up with somebody, or you have somebody special? Or is this too personal, and we're not supposed to talk about that now?
No and no. Okay. I'm dating, but it's just who knows.
Okay, well, just Well, it's good to know you. Like I said, you look great in this hat and your outfit.
Well, thank you.
I'm sure you're, opening a lot of eyes on the show, right?
I'm comfortable right now.
Well, you're busy. You have a lot going on.
I do.
You do a lot for people who have lost somebody. You're focusing on that. We both have books talking about that. And that's kind of initially how we started talking. You wrote about your son, and I read your book, and it reminded me very much of like when our daughter passed away.
You might talk about the diseases she contacted, or that you contacted and gave to her.
Right. Well, that is part of why I talk about Miss Cup in the book, wanting a bath. I don't get into it because it's a children's story, but at the end, in the appendix, I do talk about diseases that are transferred through saliva. Of course, there's the flu, there's hoof and mouth disease. I mean, there's a lot of, I don't really want to give that to my child, but what people don't realize is a lot of people share cups with their toddlers, because their toddler will take a swig and they don't feel like, getting another cup. But the problem is, if you're a woman in your childbearing years, toddlers often are shedding this virus called cytomegalovirus, or CMV. That's the short name. And CMV doesn't hurt them. You don't even see symptoms. They don't look sick. But if you're pregnant and you catch it for the first time, it can pass the placenta and severely damage your unborn child in their development. And that's what happened to my daughter, Elizabeth.
Now, I never heard of it until I talked to you.
Which is crazy which is upsetting to me, because everybody's heard, don't change the cat box when you're pregnant. For some reason, people don't know, don't share dishes with your toddlers, especially because especially if they're in daycare, a lot of them are shedding the virus because they're passing it back and forth because they're mouthing toys. So anybody who has children or works with children just needs to be extra diligent. Don't pick up toys and then grab an apple and eat it. If you pick up toys, wash your hands, then pick up an apple and eat it.
And if I remember correctly, you were running a daycare.
I didn't know that was, putting me at extra risk. Like I said, I could have minimized the risk. Their studies show that if you know about this virus, then you're just much more diligent. Yeah. Like I said, about picking up toys. And if your little cute toddler reaches up with their lips to kiss you on the mouth, you kind of miss and try to hit the cheek.
Yeah.
Just try to
and
avoid.
Well,
you just try to avoid getting saliva in your mouth. Yeah. I mean, a little bit. They don't think that's a problem, but if it's a heavy viral load, I'm not a doctor, so I don't want to get into it. But so people don't have to be terrified about some little speck. It's just, but some people have certain habits because they don't realize. Some moms, the toddler's pacifier falls on the ground. I think, I don't have any water. I'll just clean it off with my mouth and then pop it back in their mouth. Well, you've just got your toddler's saliva. There's certain habits that women don't know they shouldn't do because they think, what could my child possibly have that could hurt me?
Yeah, and I'm not sick, so I'm not going to give it.
Right, and they don't look sick. And I didn't feel sick when I caught this virus when I was pregnant with Elizabeth. And she was born severely disabled. And as you know, I just got a law passed in Connecticut. It's the second state in the country to pass a law to help fight the disease. And I didn't get the prevention education part passed because that would have cost some money. I did get, when a child fails the hearing test from now on in Connecticut, you have to test them for the disease. Because if they show positive, if that's why they lost their hearing, then they can avoid all those expensive genetic testings because now you know what caused that hearing loss. And there's also antivirals that a doctor may want to consider for that baby to help them prevent the hearing loss from progressing. And it also helps with brain development because my daughter didn't just have a hearing loss, she had severe brain damage. She was a severe case. A lot of children aren't as severe as she is, but they might show learning disabilities later in life, and nobody really knows why, because a lot of times children come out looking okay. But that's why I think a lot of reason why it's largely unknown.
And that's why you wrote the book,
Anything But a Dog.
Anything But a Dog.
Right. The Perfect Pet for a Girl with Congenital Cytomegalovirus. That's a book about my daughter's life.
Yeah.
And
I read that book. That was
you
very,
did?
very, yeah.
Thank you. You're very kind to read our work.
I read everybody's. But I read that book, and you had to feel so bad because you could see what was developing and everything. Mm-hmm. But it's very well read. Very well written.
Thank you. I didn't want to be depressing in it because she had a full life, a good life, as best as we could get her. So that's why I focused around her pets and her big sister to give the full life. But I do explain that I wish I had known how to prevent this virus, because studies do show that if women know, they reduce their chances of contracting it dramatically. And like I said, you don't have to be crazy scared. You just have to wash your hands more. But thank you very much. Yeah, she did. I don't want her life to be in vain, for what she went through. And she passed away when she was 16. So she's not suffering anymore. But of course, I miss her. And one of the ways to relieve, I'll never not miss her. I'll have that hole that will never quite go away. Yeah. But that's why I want to work hard at trying to prevent this from happening to other people. And because I like to write history and humor and fairy tales, I kind of mix that up. And that's why I wrote Once Upon a Placemat. It's a fun story. Kids aren't really realizing why the cup wants to get a bath, but the parents who keep reading the back that's for parents will realize, oh, there really is a good reason.
It's something to the parents, too.
Right, so it's something for the whole family. Yeah. And even when I wrote Mystic Seafarer's Trail, I don't tell you to chapter 7 why I'm trying to get thin and famous.
Yeah.
And the whole reason for trying to get thin and famous is then people listen to you.
Now, I read that, too. And I thought, this is Lisa. She can't even concentrate on a paragraph because she pops all over the place. Which is the way you write. Mm-hmm. And it's just, it was funny because I'm reading that and you kept changing chapters, and I think that was the one where you're supposed to go on a ship.
Yeah, I got shanghaied to go on a winter voyage.
Yeah.
And that's when I had to start learning coastal navigation and all those kinds of things. Because when I asked Jules, what happens if we get cast adrift and we have to start eating each other, who gets eaten first? And she said the least useful. So I thought, oh boy.
Oh, stay home.
No, I'm going, but I better take coastal navigation and all that so that people, right. So they'll want to not eat me.
Lisa writes great books, and if you get a chance to see them, they're Amazon.
Yeah, Amazon. Bank Square Books carries a lot of my work, but Amazon covers everything.
Yeah.
You know, anything that I've written.
E-books and everything.
Yes, yeah. And my Civil War book, Ever True.
Another good book.
Thank you. That was published by Heritage Books, but again, that is on Amazon, unless you go directly to the publisher.
And we discussed that book on this show.
Yes, we did.
A couple of years ago.
So I continue to do readings from those letters, the Civil War letters, because it's kind of interesting that my great-grandmother at 17, she married at 15, and at 17, she's writing these letters to her husband who's in the Union Army, and then she went down to D.C. So that's kind of fun that this 17-year-old learned how to shoot the Rebs in case she had to.
Yeah. And it's neat because those letters, nobody made them up.
Right.
They were true blue and to the point.
It's a lot of fun because they weren't educated. They didn't sit around philosophizing about anything. They just were telling you the stories. Who's sleeping with who's getting shot, what Lincoln looks like, you know, looks about like any old farmer. Nothing, so that's why I had to write a part for a narration in between so that people would know what's going on in the war because they didn't really know what was going on beyond their little circle. So. Yeah. And they weren't well read, so they didn't,
Well, Joe Gillespie writes about the Revolution, and she's interested in it. There's a lot of historical facts in it, and she just kind of weaves around them, and very interesting. But anyway, I think I've read all your books.
Really?
I believe so.
Shay's Rebellion? That's a really short one, so it would have been an easy read.
No, I haven't read
Hanging
that.
Henry Gale. I wrote Lisa's Guide for Writers.
No, I haven't read that.
And that's because you don't need it because you like to write all the time anyway. But this is kind of just to help you want to write your own story. I give memory jogging questions and how to get published. Tips on that. Ride a Horse on an Elevator is a children's novel. I don't think you'd read that.
I did.
Oh, did you read that too? Wow.
Yes, I did.
Wow.
I am well read.
You are well read. Well, I have to say, how many books do you read a month, would you say? Because you read Everybody's in Kappas?
Yeah.
Cause
Everybody comes on my TV show. And which is most of the people in Kappa.
Right.
So, yeah, I read, matter of fact, I just got one the other day from Leslie Hammond, who is going to be on my show next week, and I'm reading her book now and trying to get through that.
Great.
So, yes, I try to read probably 2 or 3 books a month.
So that means you're reading not just fairy tales, you're reading fiction,
everything.
Nonfiction.
Yeah.
Do you have any particular genre that you like the best?
I like Patterson. I like his mysteries, and I like local history.
Yes, I love local history.
And beyond that, I'll read anything. And it's fun. Matter of fact, I've got a collection of local authors. It's one wall in the bedroom. And I'm thinking, why have I got all these books?
Right, I know. I have a lot of autographed books as well. Because a lot of times at these book signings where you have vendor tables, I just walk around, hey, do you want to trade a book? Because that way I can know what they're writing about. They can know what I'm writing about. And I think that really works.
Wow, it's our 5 minutes already.
Ooh, should I tell you my upcoming events?
I think so.
Okay, I do have some events coming up for anybody that would like to hear me. Friday, April 15th at 4:30 p.m. I'll be at the Niantic Community Church Children's Center, and they are welcoming the general public. I'll be presenting to their children and families. On Sunday, I'll be at Bank Square Books on Sunday, April 17th from 1 to 3 p.m. And I'll be bringing my placemats for kids to take home with them, and they could be coloring. And I also have coloring inside my book.
Yeah.
As you know, I have images for coloring in there. And then I'll be at the Mystic and Noank Library doing a little children's program. Again, that's free and open to the public. And after that one, they'll actually be serving a meal, and we'll be setting the table with the children.
Cool.
And having a snack.
Oh, that's neat.
So, and that's Tuesday, April 26th at 1:15 p.m. And people can go to my Facebook page and keep track of these events, which is...
And that's up there right now.
Okay, Facebook, yes. Author Lisa Saunders is my Facebook. They can find me there to get those events and download extra placemats for coloring, rewatch that video that we just saw. So...
Well, that's cool. You're a busy lady anyway. Every time I turn around, you're doing something else. What was it last year? Was it a beer thing or?
Oh, I won the Stein hoisting contest. Again, my quest to get thin and famous. It didn't make me thin, but it gave me a short moment of fame that I won the contest in Mystic. And so I went to a no-expense paid trip to... What's the name? Sam Adams Brewery in Boston. I went to compete for the grand prize, which was a trip to Munich, but I didn't win.
Too bad.
And that was hard to lift those steins for that long. I didn't do it this year because my bursitis is bothering me.
You're into a lot. You're busy.
Well, I just enjoy these projects, you know, because as a freelancer, you can do that. I do write for clients. I'll write press releases for them to get their information out to the media. That's kind of what I do for clients. I write for newsletters, and then I write my own things, which you know what I write, a lot of memoir, history kind of thing. And plus my TV show. It's fun. It's a lot of fun to...
Yeah, and you get a newsletter once a month.
Yeah.
And that's interesting.
Thank you.
And she's hard to follow because you're everywhere.
I know. What you need to come up with is like a one tagline for me, because it's good if authors kind of stick to one genre.
Yeah.
I think it's just easier to market to one segment. So maybe if you could help me someday come up with one thing.
I think it's better to be versatile.
You think so?
Yeah.
Because then you have
Because
so
then
many audiences.
they're not expecting anything from you. You know, they go, what's she going to write on next?
If anyone cares, I don't know.
Yeah, like mine all about death, and then the other one all about history. I mean,
I like death and history too. You know, like we share that. You know, like I said,
change it quickly.
Writing the modern images for Mystic, yes, it's an image-driven book, but it's hardcore facts about the living, and the living are difficult to write about because then they complain.
Yeah, and you better do it right.
Yep.
All right, we've got 2 minutes left, and tomorrow is Good Friday, which for Catholics is the last Friday before Easter. And I hope everybody enjoys Easter. The Pawcatuck VFW's got an Easter dinner, ham and whatever. And they'll also have, tomorrow night will be the Pawcatuck VFW's last Friday of fish and chips. They'll open at noontime and will offer senior discounts from noon until 5. Takeouts can be called in at any time, 860-599-2404. In April, we will be getting to serve fish and chips once a month on the second Friday of each month. So come on down. For the past shows on YouTube, please go to sec-tv.org, and you can press the button that says YouTube, and you can see all the past shows, Lisa's, mine, and there's a ton of them on there all the way back to January, I think. And so you're never bored. You always have something to watch. Next week I'll be talking to Leslie Hammond, who is also a local author. On March 28th, I start my first session for Loved Ones Lost. If you've lost someone, if you know somebody who has lost someone, or if you'd like to discuss the loss, or just come to listen to other people talk about it, we're going to have some suggestions. I can't tell you these are recommendations because what works for one person doesn't work for another. But come down to Groton Regency at 6:30 on Monday night, the 28th, and see what it sounds like. I think you'll enjoy it, and I hope you can come.
I'm planning on it.
Good. I'd like to have other people know that I know. Email me at santostom@comcast.net or call at 860-599-5067. Thank you. Winter is gone. The nights are warmer. But it's still a great idea to cuddle up with a good book. You should be reading. See you next week. Thank you for watching. Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me, Tom.